The boat moves on an incompressible fluid, floats and counteracts the buoyancy of a compressible fluid. The boat has 6 degrees of freedom. It heels and rolls, it pitches, it yaws, it surges, sways and heaves. On the boat, many objects are partially constrained and their movements follow a complex path. The boom, the rudder, even the gas stove. Even at the anchor, the boat does not stop moving. And even when moored to a dock, the latter may be floating and transmits its motion to the boat. For the sailor, this freedom of movement requires constant recalibration of one's position, and it has sometimes disorienting effects, generating a constant struggle to know which direction one is going, to keep one's heading, to keep one's balance below deck when the whole reference system is moving. On a boat and around the boat, many reference systems are active and used simultaneously, objects, directions, elements, that if considered fixed, allow other objects to be seen against their background as moving relative to the former. Clinging to a reference system allows the sailing mind to analytically decompose the problem of orientation and wayfinding. Instead of a pair of moving objects, we consider one of them fixed and the other moving relative to the first. The Viewpoints project documents a number of viewpoints of the boat, from the rudder to the boom, from the boat to the furler to the gas stove. The project reveals some hidden truths in the complexity of the visual scene. The point of view of the sea is that an object moves in it. When the propeller begins to turn, the first jet finds the boat motionless, and water is projected several meters away before the boat begins to react. Only after a few seconds does the boat move and moves water in turn, generating waves that gradually take shape, interfere, and furrow the sea. Here we are in the heart of the Mediterranean, with absolute becloudedness. The boat generates a bow wave which lulls it. The point of view of the bow is also expressed in images taken by constraining the camera. Pointing the shadow overhead, we can access the viewpoint of the sun. The viewpoint of the boom shows us the constancy of the wind's direction, at least at the time scale of minutes. When we sail, it appears to us that the boom is swaying, but in fact it is the boat that is constantly changing direction relative to a boom that we should consider stationary. And how much does the rudder move under the control of the autopilot to compensate for the constant changes in direction imposed by the sea? Below deck, with a strong roll, we feel like the gas stove, mounted on a hinge, is swaying. But the truth is different. The stove is stationary. The boat is moving on the hinge that supports it. If it was not so, we would not be able to cook pasta. If we focus in a windowless cabin on an object, such as a bottle containing an air bubble, we can be puzzled by the bubble's movement. At anchor, there is always the feeling of a very slight movement. The boat thinks otherwise. Being bound only to the anchor chain at the bow, a chain that may not be well stretched, the boat follows the ever-shifting wind. Floating pontoons respond to the tensions generated by moored boats exposed to the wind, and in turn transmit movement to the boat. Mooring is an art that protects the boat.